Hello everyone, this is Dr. Tracey Reed and welcome to the channel. Today, we're going to explore one of the most fascinating subjects in the world, psychology. Psychology is not just about mental illness, therapy, or strange behaviors. It is the science of the human mind and behavior. It helps us understand why we think the way we do, why we feel what we feel, and why we act in certain ways even when we don't fully understand ourselves. If you've ever wondered why people overthink, why habits are so hard to break, why emotions can take control, or why the mind sometimes works against us, then this video is for you. So, sit back, relax, and let's dive into the incredible world of psychology. Psychology, in simple words, is the study of the mind and behavior. It looks at thoughts, emotions, memory, personality, decision-making, relationships, motivation, stress, and much more. Every action we take, every fear we carry, every dream we chase, and every relationship we build is connected to psychology in some way. But psychology is more than theory. It is deeply practical. It affects how we learn in school, how we perform at work, how we deal with pressure, and even how we choose friends and partners. The more we understand psychology, the more we understand ourselves. Let's begin with a basic question. Why do humans behave the way they do? The answer is not simple because behavior is influenced by many factors. Our biology plays a role. Our upbringing plays a role. Our environment matters. Our past experiences shape us. Even our beliefs about ourselves influence what we do. In psychology, behavior is rarely caused by just one thing. It is usually the result of many forces working together. For example, imagine two people facing the same challenge. One sees it as an opportunity to grow, while the other sees it as proof that they are not good enough. The situation is the same, but their interpretation is different. And that interpretation affects how they feel and how they respond. This is one of the most important ideas in psychology. It is not only events that shape us, but the meaning we give to those events. Now let's talk about the conscious and unconscious mind. Most people think they are fully aware of why they do what they do. But psychology tells us that a large part of human behavior happens below conscious awareness. The unconscious mind stores memories, fears, desires, habits, and emotional patterns that influence behavior without us realizing it. Have you ever reacted strongly to something small and later wondered, why did I respond like that? That may be the unconscious mind at work. Maybe the situation reminded you of a past experience. Maybe it touched an insecurity you didn't know was still there. Maybe it activated a fear of rejection, failure, or embarrassment. This is why self-awareness is so powerful. The more aware we become of our inner world, the more control we gain over our outer behavior. Another major area of psychology is emotion. Emotions are not weaknesses, they are signals. They tell us that something important is happening inside us. Fear can warn us of danger. Anger can show that a boundary has been crossed. Sadness can reveal loss. Joy can point us toward what matters most. The problem is not that we feel emotions. The problem begins when we do not understand them, suppress them for too long, or allow them to control every decision we make. Many people are taught to ignore their emotions. They hear things like, be strong, don't cry, or stop overreacting. But when emotions are ignored, they don't disappear. They often build up and come out in other ways, such as anxiety, irritability, burnout, or even physical symptoms like headaches and fatigue. Healthy psychology does not mean feeling good all the time. It means developing the ability to understand, regulate, and respond to emotions wisely. This brings us to an important psychological skill called emotional regulation. Emotional regulation is the ability to manage feelings without being overwhelmed by them. It does not mean pretending everything is okay. It means pausing before reacting. It means naming what you feel. It means choosing a response instead of acting on impulse. For example, if someone criticizes you, your first reaction may be anger or defensiveness. But emotional regulation allows you to pause and ask yourself, why did this affect me so much? That one pause can change everything. It can prevent an argument, improve a relationship, and protect your peace of mind. Now let's move to another fascinating subject: personality. Why are some people outgoing while others are quiet? Why are some people highly organized and others spontaneous? Why do some people trust easily while others take years to open up? Psychology explains that personality is a pattern of thinking, feeling, and behaving that makes each person unique. Personality develops over time through a combination of genetics and life experiences. Some parts of personality remain stable, while others can evolve through growth, pain, reflection, and learning. One of the most helpful things psychology teaches us is that people are different, not because one is better than the other, but because minds are wired differently. Understanding personality helps us become less judgmental and more compassionate. It reminds us that not everyone processes the world in the same way. For instance, an introverted person may need silence to recharge, while an extroverted person may feel energized by social interaction. Neither is wrong. They are simply different ways of functioning. Let's talk about thoughts, because thoughts shape so much of our emotional life. Every day, thousands of thoughts pass through the human mind. Some are helpful, some are neutral, some are deeply harmful. The problem is that many people believe every thought they have, but not every thought is true. Psychology teaches us to question our thoughts. If your mind says, "I always fail," is that a fact, or is that fear talking? If your mind says, "Nobody cares about me," is that reality, or is that pain coloring your perception? This is the foundation of cognitive psychology, which studies how our thinking patterns affect our feelings and actions. When thoughts are distorted, emotions often become distorted too. Common distorted thoughts include black and white thinking, where everything is seen as either perfect or terrible; catastrophizing, where the mind jumps to the worst-case scenario; and mind reading, where people assume they know what others think of them, usually in a negative way. For example, someone sends a message and does not get a reply for hours. A distorted mind may think, "They are ignoring me. I must have done something wrong." But there may be many other explanations. They may be busy, tired, or dealing with something unrelated. Learning to challenge distorted thoughts is life-changing. It reduces anxiety, improves self-esteem, and helps people respond more rationally. Now let's discuss habits, because psychology and habits are deeply connected. A habit is a behavior repeated so often that it becomes automatic. Brushing your teeth, checking your phone, overthinking before sleep, procrastinating important work. These can all become habits. Habits are powerful because they save mental energy. The brain prefers patterns because patterns are efficient. But this means bad habits can also become deeply rooted. Psychology shows us that habits usually follow a loop, a cue, a behavior, and a reward. Something triggers the behavior, you perform the action, and then your brain receives some form of reward. That reward may be comfort, distraction, pleasure, or relief. Take stress eating as an example. The cue is stress. The behavior is eating. The reward is temporary comfort. The mind learns that food helps reduce emotional discomfort, and the cycle repeats. To change a habit, we must understand the loop behind it. We often fail because we focus only on stopping the behavior instead of understanding what need the behavior is serving. Lasting change becomes possible when we replace the old behavior with a healthier one that provides a similar reward. Another huge topic in psychology is motivation. Why do people start strong and give up quickly? Why do some people work hard even when no one is watching, while others struggle to begin at all? Motivation is influenced by goals, beliefs, environment, emotion, energy, and meaning. One important difference in psychology is between external motivation and internal motivation. External motivation comes from rewards or pressure. This could be money, praise, fear of failure, or social approval. Internal motivation comes from within. It is driven by curiosity, purpose, enjoyment, or personal values. People who rely only on external motivation often lose momentum when the reward disappears. But internal motivation tends to be stronger and more sustainable because it is connected to identity and meaning. That is why psychology encourages us to ask not just, "What do I want to achieve?" but also, "Why does this matter to me?" When purpose is clear, discipline becomes easier. Let's now explore stress and anxiety, two of the most common psychological experiences in modern life. Stress is the body and mind's response to pressure or demand. In small amounts, stress can be useful. It can help us stay alert, focused, and ready to act. But when stress becomes constant, it begins to harm both mental and physical health. Anxiety is slightly different. Anxiety often involves fear about what might happen. It is future-focused. The anxious mind tries to predict problems, avoid uncertainty, and stay in control. But the more it tries to control everything, the more overwhelmed it becomes. Psychology teaches us that anxiety often grows when we fight uncertainty instead of learning to tolerate it. The truth is, life is uncertain. No one can control every outcome. Mental peace comes not from controlling everything, but from building the strength to handle what comes. Breathing exercises, mindfulness, exercise, sleep, social support, therapy, journaling, and balanced thinking can all help reduce anxiety. But one of the most powerful tools is learning to stay present. Anxiety pulls the mind into the future. Presence brings it back to now. Now let's speak about self-esteem. Self-esteem is how we see our own worth. It affects confidence, relationships, decision-making, and emotional health. People with low self-esteem often doubt themselves, fear rejection, and depend heavily on external validation. They may compare themselves constantly and feel that they are never enough. But self-esteem is not built by pretending to be perfect. It is built by treating yourself with respect, speaking to yourself with kindness, and proving to yourself that you can face life honestly. Psychology reminds us that the voice in your head matters. If your inner dialogue is constantly critical, harsh, and hopeless, it becomes difficult to feel secure. Many people speak to themselves in ways they would never speak to someone they love. Real growth begins when self-criticism is replaced with self-awareness and self-compassion. Self-compassion does not mean making excuses. It means recognizing your pain without hating yourself for it. It means saying, "I am struggling, but I am still worthy." That mindset creates healing. Now let's look at relationships, because psychology is not only individual, it is also social. Humans are deeply relational. We are affected by how we are treated, how we are seen, and how safe we feel with others. Our earliest relationships often shape our expectations in later ones. If someone grows up feeling secure, loved, and heard, they may find it easier to trust. If someone grows up with inconsistency, criticism, or emotional neglect, they may struggle with fear, distance, or overattachment. This is why psychology pays close attention to attachment styles. Some people become anxious in relationships, constantly fearing abandonment. Others become avoidant, pulling away when things get too close. Some are secure and able to connect without losing themselves. Understanding your relationship patterns can help you break unhealthy cycles. It helps you ask important questions like, why do I chase unavailable people? Why do I shut down during conflict? Why do I feel uncomfortable when someone treats me well? These are not random behaviors. They often come from emotional patterns built over many years. The good news is that patterns can change. With awareness, healing, and effort, people can build healthier relationships. Conflict is another important psychological topic. Many people think conflict is a sign that something is broken, but conflict is a normal part of human connection. The real question is not whether conflict happens. The real question is how people handle it. Do they blame or communicate? Do they attack or listen? Do they shut down or stay present? Psychology teaches that healthy communication involves honesty, empathy, and emotional control. Instead of saying, "You never understand me," a healthier statement might be, "I feel unheard when this happens." This small shift reduces defensiveness and opens the door to real conversation. Let's also talk about trauma, because it has a profound impact on the mind. Trauma is not only about dramatic events. Trauma can come from repeated emotional pain, instability, neglect, humiliation, or chronic fear. Trauma changes how the nervous system responds to the world. It can make a person hyperalert, emotionally numb, easily triggered, or disconnected from themselves. Often people blame themselves for reactions that are actually trauma responses. They say things like, "Why am I so sensitive?" or "Why can't I just move on?" But healing is not about force. It is about safety, understanding, and patience. Psychology helps us see that healing is not linear. Some days feel strong and other days feel heavy. That does not mean progress is gone. It means the mind is still learning that the danger is over. Another beautiful part of psychology is resilience. Resilience is the ability to recover, adapt, and keep going after hardship. It does not mean never falling apart. It means finding your way back again and again. Resilient people are not people who never suffer. They are people who learn how to suffer without losing all hope. They develop coping skills, support systems, healthy beliefs, and a sense of meaning even in difficult times. Psychology shows us that resilience can be strengthened. It grows through self-awareness, healthy relationships, problem-solving, emotional regulation, and hope. Every time you face a challenge and survive it, your mind learns something important. I can endure more than I thought. Let's now consider one final truth about psychology. Understanding the mind is a lifelong journey. No one fully figures themselves out in one day. Growth takes time. Awareness takes honesty. Healing takes courage. Change takes repetition. But every step matters. The goal of psychology is not to make us perfect. It is to make us more conscious, more honest, more compassionate, more capable of understanding ourselves and others. When we understand the mind, we stop judging ourselves so harshly. We start recognizing patterns. We become more patient with pain. We learn that emotions are not enemies. We realize that thoughts can be questioned. We see that behavior can change. And most importantly, we discover that growth is possible. So if you are struggling, overthinking, healing, learning, or simply trying to understand yourself better, remember this. Your mind is powerful, but it is also trainable. You are not stuck forever. You are not defined only by your past, and you are not alone in your inner battles. Psychology teaches us that change begins with awareness, and awareness begins with attention. The more gently and honestly you pay attention to your inner world, the more clearly you begin to understand the life you are creating. Thank you so much for watching. This is Dr. Tracey Reed, and I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into psychology and the human mind. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more insightful content. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.